There we go. Hello, welcome. Hopefully you're all doing good today. Welcome to the art stream. We're gonna be the second part to our fifth our art challenge. Let me just open up the file real quick if we're gonna do that. Let's open up. There we go. Now we're what vibe we're going for. And I believe the reference photo is let me pull up on actual. Hold on. Everything's updating. Why is it tonight that everything is updating? Yeah, whatever. Alright, there we go. And let me just pull up on here as well so y'all can see. The pictures. There we go. Alright. Yeah, I kind of just quickly set up the stream real quick. Didn't even like properly put on my art stuff real quick. And I was in the middle of watching this video here. So basically, it's a why Genshin's currency is weird.
Such as 𝙂𝙚𝙣𝙚𝙧𖖏. It's time for another game of Is This Worth the Mora meat edition. So, one raw meat is 240 and one flower costs 150 mora. Altogether that's 390 mora, so he really isn't marking it up too high. 𝙂𝙚 Harbor, the trade capital of 𝙂𝙚, the most important city. Okay, this section is probably gonna be big, so let's start with the population and employment to get that out of the way. Counting 𝙂𝙚's population took forever. It is by far.
You know what else is big? My transition progress. I'm not gonna say much about it. But so let's just say, I think my body matches my brain. Always in either in zoomy mode or sleeping. I'm awake, it's zoomy, and my body's all in zoomy mode. Zoom, motherfuckers.
The largest region. However, this is when I realized the problem I would have, as now we have to deal with unnamed NPCs too. What I went with for this was I did count them, but I based it on context. So for example, if they were performing an action or were in an area that they would need a job for, stuff like that. So 𝙂𝙚's population came out to a grand total of 848, 617 employed, 106 unemployed, meaning its unemployment rate is actually pretty bad, sitting at 15%. Considering this is the most populated region in 𝙂𝙚, it isn't exactly surprising. As the financial hub, 𝙂𝙚 Harbor is built on, well, thousands of years of history, with many seaborne trade routes, and a god that literally invented the worldwide currency. But it's not just their god, it's their position too, that gives them a unique advantage. The harbor is located here, meaning it's a perfect hub for every other nation to gather around. 𝙂𝙚 Harbor handles trade from Mondstadt, Inazuma, Sumeru, and Snezhnaya, while while Yilong Wharf handles trade with Fontaine. Liyue's geography also
Oh yeah,
provides
this
it
one.
with rich minerals. It has probably the largest mining and smithing industry in Teyvat, with Natlan perhaps a close second with the Children of Echoes. Black Cliff Forge is where a lot of Liyue's weapons are forged, and is the birthplace of the Black Cliff series and Prototype series. Included is also the White Tassel, which is the standard issue weapon of the Millelith, mass-produced at the Black Cliff Forge for soldiers. The Black Cliff Forge supervisor at the harbour gives us our first look at how bad things have gotten with the industry, how essentially the outburst of monsters from the chasm has halted work in all areas as they aren't getting a supply. This whole situation is eventually fixed after the Traveller gets involved, and the security enhancing event, taking place after said events, has an event weapon showing how the Qixing are innovating. But the chasm, even after we remedy the situation, things aren't so simple. An incident of this scale meant that all the miners were laid off, many heading for the treasure hoarder life, so attempting to recruit such a large amount of people again is a lot of work. Each major industry has an official trade sector. In the case of the chasm, this would be 𝙂𝙚𝙣𝙚 in charge of mining, and under the jurisdiction of the Qixing, so they would also be in charge of operations at Black Cliff Forge probably, and Mingyun Village. Just to briefly cover this, Mingyun Village was a huge mining operation in itself until everything dried up and people moved away to the chasm for work. Now you've heard me mention the Qixing a few times at this point, so let's dig deeper. That's a rock pun, by the way. Into the role this group plays in running Liyue. Brace yourselves, this gets a bit confusing. According to the loading screen, the Liyue Qixing is a committee made up of 7 merchants and business leaders who govern Liyue. This is the committee that runs all of Liyue and sees to its day-to-day functioning, and it is structured as follows. Ningguang, responsible for laws, making amendments when necessary to suit societal needs. The laws are compiled and published along with a 279-page commentary, and a copy is given to each citizen of Liyue. That's a lot. Kaching, overseeing urban management, and we know this includes anything building related, and Uncle Qian, in charge of policy making. Then there are the 8 trades, commerce sectors under the jurisdiction of the Qixing. The communications office, Huishan Hall, Shenglu Hall, and Yinyuan Hall. The others are not known at this time. These give us an idea of other sectors that perhaps aren't given much spotlight in-game. For example, Shenglu Hall oversees the ceramics industry, and most members are descendants of indigenous tribes from the chasm. The Ministry of Civil Affairs takes everyone's economic well-being very seriously, and they often send out the Millelith to spread public awareness of well-known scams. Aside from the 8 trades, we've also got the Ministry of Civil Affairs, the government organization under the Qixing, maintaining safety, meaning they have command over the Millelith, managing public sectors and events. So it's time
This is
for a
just a
deep
rough
dive
draft
within
1,
the
rough
deep
draft
dive.
2.
According to Miss Yu, the ministry manages material goods, information and human
The rough draft
resources.
is
In
just gonna
Ganyu's
be
story quest, we see this in action. Having been provided with information about a treasure hoarder network, being a reputation NPC, that means she also outsources work. The ministry has a watch list of dangerous individuals. They organize festivals and ensure safety as well as cleaning up. The ministry is in charge of the smooth operation of the harbour, take a proficiency test, declare a tax liability, apply for an exit permit, rent a mooring space. The list goes on and on. If there's one thing everyone in the Ministry of Civil Affairs shares, it's being overworked. At the top of them all though is Ningguang. She's so cool. I wish women were real. Ningguang is really good at her job, unlike a certain someone. Her hangout really gives us an insight into how she operates. There's the auction quest where she's trying to retrieve lost items from the Jade Chamber. She follows the rules, but instead of simply buying them back from the people that salvaged them or assessing who has legal ownership, she runs an auction to get them to give back the items, or in exchanging intelligence, where we find out she has child informants that help her know what is coming in and out of the harbour. Yay, child labour again! Liyue Harbour
Yay,
is
child
dense
labour.
and tiered. Merchant store
Remember, chat, Tibet has its own laws.
houses on the docks, and more local shops are on this side of the harbour, with a clear divide. Ownership seems to be private. The elite hold on to prime real estate. Of course, these buildings are located right at the top of the harbour. Frick you, 𝙂𝙗. Workers, on the other hand, live in narrower quarters or in villages outside of the harbour. Powerful merchant families or Qixing members hold a kind of monopoly, controlling pretty much everything.
I have an
and we already
idea.
know certain people are corrupt. Village producers in Minlin, Lisha, and Qingce supply urban Liyue harbour stalls.
So for
Seasonal harvests shape festivals too. We've
why
had
don't
many
you kind
events
of like
in the
a
past where we can obtain dishes exclusively from there. Local
I kind of want to combine the concept of a 2-piece bikini and a wizard robe.
dishes are economic products in their own right. There are plenty of illegal goings on in 𝙂𝙗 Harbour too. There's 𝙂𝙗, for example.
The Crux is kind of like the maritime equivalent of a guard for hire. We work as an armed carrier, earning our keep by successfully delivering the goods entrusted to us from A to B. The less official side is doing exactly what merchants do. Importing here, exporting there. The only difference between us and regular merchants is that our transactions aren't entirely above board.
𝙂𝙗 and Ningguang are even business partners, as 𝙂𝙗 is able to procure difficult items. Apart from 𝙂𝙗, there are plenty of NPCs in the harbour whose business practices are less than savoury. 𝙂𝙗, hidden away below the bridge, procures items from Inazuma on the down low, likely because it used to be, and is still somewhat difficult to obtain certain items from there. The 𝙂𝙗 Rock bulletin board even mentions this. This sussy guy, 𝙂𝙗, who has dealings with pretty much everyone, including the Crux fleet, and he sells star conches for 1,000 mora each. I could literally walk along any beach in 𝙂𝙗 and find one of these. Then there's 𝙂𝙗, who tries turning you into a gacha addict. Wait a minute. The main items you'll find being sold in the harbour are food and gacha addict. Wait a minute. The main items you'll find being sold in the harbour are food and gacha. So let's look at food first. I mentioned how 𝙂𝙗 Harbour is cleverly separated into different sections visually, so rich and international merchants tend to plant themselves in 𝙂𝙗 Slope, whereas more local shops and cuisine will be in 𝙂𝙗 Rock, and food is also used in such a way to show this. There are two different culinary styles in 𝙂𝙗. Lee style, focusing on rich, indulgent dishes and uses a lot of mountain ingredients, whereas Yue style is more about lighter, brighter flavors and heavily seafood based, which according to 𝙂𝙗, this style is found at both of the high-end kiosks. So since we're here, we might as well look around the rest of 𝙂𝙗 Rock, right? There's Second Life, the general goods store that, as you might have guessed, has produce that makes sense. Rice from 𝙤𝙤's rice fields, tofu made from there, shrimp meat from the oceans. Almonds though are interesting. Outside of 𝙂𝙗, the only place you can find these nuts is from one Fontaine vendor. Yeah, there's no mention of them in game. Right next to Second Life is Chen the Sharp, selling cheap street food. Guys, I think he likes grilled tigerfish. His past in the 𝙂𝙗 clan helps him sell fish. His sword skills translate to descaling, gutting, making his food quite popular. You can even see it on display. He also sells stir-fried fillet and what looks like dumplings. Granny Shu sells various artisanal pieces, kites, instruments, and fireworks. Yinga
I got an idea.
She sells vases and perfumes. There's Third Round Knockout, where you can enjoy some tea, food, and also get live entertainment by listening to the storyteller. Although the boss has some questionable business methods, he can be found telling his waitress to halve portion sizes and dismiss guest complaints in order to make more profit. There's also Yanshang Tea House that seems to double as a casino. This tea house is featured in Child's teaser, where he confronts the owner on his outstanding debts, who gets sent to prison, and after, Yalan takes over. On the other street are two competing street vendors. The famous Chef Mao, who for some reason only sells the same generic vendor dishes to players. World famous restaurant, huh? Their signature dish is black perch stew, which is also Xiangling's special dish, consisting of fish, jueyun chili, salt, and violet grass.
There is no secret ingredient.
Actually there is. Zhongli says so in this event. It's the violet grass. The reason Wanmin restaurant is so popular in the first place is because the owner's daughter, Zhang Ling, is constantly innovating with food. Her character stories explore her adventures. The monopoly on luxurious ingredients, such as matsutake and crabs, infuriated Zhang Ling, her angry response to which was to take over in the kitchen. This is what fueled Zhang Ling to develop her cooking into something unique and out of the box, causing the restaurant to become as famous as it is today, and able to directly compete with the upper end establishments. Street food vendor Sue sells her most prized possession. Although I don't know about the cheap part. All of these businesses, by the way, have ads on the bulletin board if you're interested in NPC lore. Master Zhang, the owner of 𝙂𝙗 Harbour's blacksmith, is the son of Han Feng, the guy from Qing. Master Zhang, this is by the way, have ads on the bulletin board if you're interested in NPC lore. Master Zhang, the owner of 𝙂𝙗 Harbour's blacksmith, is the son of Han Feng, the guy from Qingce village, and the cousin of the Crux fleet's resident smith. This guy has worked for some high-end clients, even Ningguang herself. If you're a labourer, he doesn't charge for repairs. So that means he makes money from other avenues, such as weapons. I mean, he's right next to the Adventurers Guild. Ah, but how could I forget? There is a bank over at Qihu Rock. A bank that is unfortunately being driven out of business by the vtuber's increasing presence. After his daughter's death, this guy sold the bank to them, whose daughter is still alive, by the way. This is a small NPC subplot going on. Generative AI opposed his daughter's relationship with another man, this guy, so she faked her death, and now they're on the run. You can find them at Stone Gate, acting all sussy. There is a prevalent fishing industry too, though it seems most people sail out to sea to catch fish and sell them, as other methods aren't as profitable. For example, Beidou's old fishing village couldn't survive financially and was abandoned. At this part of the docks, we can find multiple vendors selling their catches, but it turns out these two fishmongers are working together. Uncle Gao sells his fish for 300 mora or 3 for 1,000 mora, which obviously makes no sense as you're paying more, but this is all a ploy to get people to buy from Uncle Sun, whose prices then seem more reasonable, and they both split the profits. And on the other end of the docks is the warehouse that all goods have to go through to be processed and checked before being transported into the city. Liyue's economy depends heavily on skilled craftsmen and labourers, which we see in action here at the shipyard, a ship currently under construction and under the supervision of Zhao. Liyue's ships are the face of the nation. We should be aiming for perfection every time. Each spot you miss with a paintbrush harms not just my reputation, but that of Liyue itself. Let's see what other kind of businesses there are, this time over at the slope. Along the front, there's 𝙂𝙚𝙣𝙚, selling various goods from Снежная, and also as a supplier of core lapis to Снежная factories. For what specifically though, we don't know. There's various other ore merchants, food stalls, and by the looks of it, ceramics. And well, since we mentioned the vtuber banks earlier, we might as well nip this one in the bud. The Northland Bank is a Снежная bank that has branches all over Teyvat. You can also find this bank in Fontaine and Nasha Town, with one being planned for Sumeru City too. Can you take a guess at who is in charge of these banks? Yep. Pantalone. This is a foreign bank, by the way, operating in a different nation. You can also get loans from them. This is mostly what we have seen in game, vtuber chasing around people who have borrowed money and are now in debt. But again, having banks in other nations means they can use this to spy and gain intelligence. If you talk with Andre, the manager, he says, many Liyue locals still seem to harbour some resentment towards our bank. They think that our presence here may be damaging the Liyue economy. And well, I don't think the locals are entirely wrong. In Ningguang's hangout, they set spies on her, as they were not pleased that Ningguang asked them to pay reparations from the damage Asile caused, even refusing to comply with Ningguang's investigation. And I think with how prevalent Northland Bank is, and how we're starting to see more and more vtuber influence everywhere, with Mora no longer being minted, they're looking to fill that hole, and potentially turn Снежная into the new region of commerce. Here you can exchange geosigils for various items, but this is in fact a side business. Going by its name, it is still first and foremost a jewelry shop, and entering dialogue with the owner gives us more lore about Liyue's ceramic industry. Liyue is famed for its ceramics. They can only be fired locally due to the unique properties of the soil here. Some would go so far as to say that Mingxing jewelry is in a league of its own in the trade. Wealthy merchants will travel from all corners of Teyvat just to purchase a single lucent crescent. This antique store, for us the player, just means buying green artifacts, but we can get an idea of how it would work with actual artifacts. First is the nameless treasure that you can sell to Linlang for 100,000 mora. If you take it to her, she explains that one on its own probably won't sell for much, but obtaining all three would, so they're part of a set. Going with the lore behind the boxes, they have patterns depicting 3 adepti, sealing 𝙂𝙚𝙧𝙚 in his cave. Then there's the doll ring from the 9 Pillars quest. If you sell to Linlang, she gives you 200,000 mora, but you can also sell this one to Bolai, who undercuts her for 180,000 mora. And last but not least is the dragon bone orb you obtain in Enkonomiya. This has a legend tied to it, so this is how it gets its value. It can be sold to Monster and Inazuma's souvenir shops as well, and they all pay 80,000 mora for it. Changshun has the most random assortment of goods. The Wangsheng funeral parlor is pretty self-explanatory. However, I can't find any evidence of mora costs or transactions. But speaking of death, medicine, Baiju, Bubu Pharmacy, Liyue has such renowned medicine, the people from outside of the region have traveled here for help. If we visit Bubu Pharmacy, obviously we can see what they sell. So they sell recipes for soups that are meant to help with colds, and then ingredients and specialties. Now, when 𝙂𝙗 was finally released, there was a web event that had prescriptions for different NPCs, and the recipes for these involved items you can find in-game, and that have been mentioned before to have medicinal properties. Berries are used in this quest to help Anna recover from her illness. But let's take Master Lu's muscle ointment as an example. The recipe for it includes luminescent spine, flaming flower starman, and violet grass. The two latter ingredients are available at 𝙂𝙗 Pharmacy for purchase, coming out at 2,000 mora, so this medicine would cost at the very least 2k, which is kind of expensive. Wanwen Bookshop shows Liyue also has a book economy, and as you'll see, their taste in books is quite different to Inazuma's. Now we've got 𝙤𝙤 to cover. qiaoying Village is the largest producer of tea leaves in Liyue, and a huge export to all parts of the world, particularly to Fontaine. They love the stuff. You can find an employee from Yanchang Tea House overlooking the village looking to purchase tea. It's revealed that 𝙤𝙤 has the best environment for growing tea, being grown in warm, moist areas. The locals believe it's thanks to the adepti that the land is so fertile, and they would be correct. 𝙤𝙤 has these unique things called spirit lines that keep the soil and water stable, and in the region's main world quest, Fujin, an adeptus, has to sacrifice a lot of her power to restore these lines. And interestingly, if you talk to a researcher from Sumeru, he also states that they have tried bringing tea trees over to Sumeru, but they never survived. According to the archive, adept tea is the collective term for the various teas produced in 𝙤𝙤. Each type offers subtle yet wonderful flavour distinctions and requires different tea making techniques. The tea is used in a few meals you can purchase at Yilong Wharf. Jade Vein tea eggs, a popular Liyue snack, can be bought from Lianfang for 480 mora, which seems like a lot, but she isn't actually making much profit from it. In the village, it's grown, picked, and then processed at Chunming Tea Works, where they utilize traditional methods of tea making, with new machinery to dry the leaves and roast the tea. Yilong Wharf is Liyue's second most important trading hotspot. It exclusively trades with Fontaine, but is nonetheless thriving. To export goods to Liyue Harbour, most trade goes through the river, where they have a lift to lift cargo down for it to then be taken by boat. Arriving at the way too small of a dock along the river to 𝙂𝙗, place on a boat that heads to the inn, and carried along the road the rest of the way. If taking cargo to Mondstadt, a Mondstadt merchant explains this too. You transport goods from Yilong Wharf to the docks southeast of qiaoying Village, follow the waterway to 𝙂𝙗 before transferring to Liyue Harbour, then load a ship bound for Dorman Port. Direct land transportation through the Stone Gate is an option too, but it requires hiring too many carts, so water transportation is more convenient. Fontaine is much more simple. All trade goes through Lumiduce Harbour, where they similarly have a lift system. Don't ask me how this works, it makes no sense. Where is the cargo coming from? But either way, Yilong Wharf's positioning has allowed it to prosper. Anyway, Yilong Wharf is where the communications office is based. According to a member of staff, ranging from the registration of people and goods entering and exiting, the inspection and, if needed, the quarantine of the above, applications for delivery within Liyue's borders, and ad hoc goods storage. They're also responsible for construction and road management. Doing a great job there, guys. If you talk to an NPC in Sumeru, he mentions they're in charge of logistics for sea trade as well. Another staff member of the communications office can be found here, and oh boy, he explains just how complicated systems for transport really are. It's a lot of text, so the short of it is, dealing with transportation involves so many different parties. It's a lot of work to plan and make sure everyone coordinates. There's also the Sword and Strongbox Secure Transport Agency. That is a mouthful, oh my Archon. We will also evaluate the total quantity of goods and distances to destinations, and the manifests will be sent to transport units or our partners at the Secure Transport Agency. There are many different businesses trying to make their way in the wharf. We have the tea house, which seems to be a pretty huge attraction. The owner seems to have quite a monopoly over at the wharf. He talks about how when Yilong Wharf first underwent its industrialization, utilizing more and more heavy machinery, he took advantage of it and made a lot of mora. Using that mora, he expanded into inns and restaurants, and many nearby inns are under his name. Street food vendors like Lianfang, who has taken advantage of the commercialization of the wharf to adapt her dishes for various kinds of people. Talking to people around the wharf provides us with an interesting distinction between how the people of Fontaine treat tea compared to the people of Liyue. Fontainians treat it the same way as any other drink, whereas in 𝙤𝙤, tea is drunk as a way of finding peace. Another kind of job that's new on the block is brand Branding. If we head up here, we can find Vert Jr. She's currently in the process of creating travel guides for places all over 𝙂𝙖𝙤𝙬. That sounds familiar. But she also works as a brand image consultant. Businesses pay her to advise them on how best to advertise. Overall though, I would say the leisurely and peaceful atmosphere of Yulong Wharf and 𝙤𝙂𝙤𝙬 makes it the perfect place for tourists too. I'll briefly cover how things were before the Archon Quest event, but we'll mainly be looking at current day Inazuma. Inazuma's economy is mostly concentrated in one spot, Rito, mostly because only one island is really inhabited, and before the Traveler arrived and knocked some sense into Raiden, internationals and traders were restricted to this island. This was due to the Sakoku Decree, shutting Inazuma's borders and limiting travel inside. At this time, non-Inazumas were not allowed to leave Rito without a permit. However, the Kanjo Commission, in charge of such affairs, was incredibly corrupt at this time and was charging an extortionate amount for these passes. Of course, the Fatui and 𝙤𝙤 were exempt from this, as they were in cahoots and practically orchestrated the entire civil war. To quickly list everything involving the Fatui and Inazuma, they worked with the Tenryo and Kanjo Commissions to send misinfo to Raiden. They built a delusion factory and distributed these to the people of Watatsumi. They had spies literally all over Inazuma, attempting to destabilize the region and stoke more wars between Watatsumi and the shogunate. They sabotaged the Mikage furnace and released the Tataragami on Yashiori. Even after the war, they still tried to poison Watatsumi's waters and soil. Also Nathan. And that brings us to current day. So how is Rito faring now? Nowadays, we can assume that people applying for travel permits are paying the initial 600 mora. As for the businesses, well, there's a huge fishing industry. Only thing is, this is definitely confined just to Inazuma. Other nations don't really have a need to import fish or agricultural products from Inazuma, apart from maybe lavender melons. They aren't offering much unique stuff. I mean, there's also sea Ganodorma, but like, who wants this? So trade for these items would be purely internal, and mostly between a few villages and the main city. If we talk to Abata, he also mentions how the decree had an effect on the fishing industry, meaning fishermen couldn't go far enough out to sea. Raiden, why? As we get to the main square, we're greeted by an overwhelming amount of shops. But first, the International Trade Association. This is a group formed by foreigners to help one another navigate trade in Inazuma. People go there to mingle and talk business, and can also come here for any help. Due to the Sakoku Decree, there was a lot of smuggling going on because people were so restricted. Take for example this NPC, acting a bit too sussy if you ask me. People would find ways to sneak things in and out, and over by this cave there's a secret passageway and dock. First up, we've got a trader from Liyue, under the Chuyu Trading Company. They have a branch here, although I can't find any other info about this company other than here in Inazuma. My problem with this shop is that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, she claims her ores are all the way from Liyue, yet she's still selling them at regular price, just like every other shop. But aside from that, she also talks about how the lifting of the Sakoku Decree has allowed an opening up of import channels and more business, and that she means to open a branch in the city before competition beats her to it. Next door is a Sumeru merchant specializing in fertilizer. Certainly a unique product, but given it's from Sumeru, it has been rather profitable for him. Even the nearby village of Konda have used it. On the other side is a merchant from Watatsumi who's selling special items from the island. This diverse range is advantageous. Unagi are only found on Watatsumi, but can be easily fished, especially since Kenta comes from a fishing family. As he points out, our unagi is well priced, and it's a mighty rare sight here in Rito, so it's sold pretty well. Small profit and quick turnover. The pearls on the other hand are much rarer, so don't restock as often. This does make sense, as they aren't exactly being cultivated. I assume people are either diving or exploring around Watatsumi. Sailing Breeze is the shop nearby, and this one is Mondstadt origin. They primarily sell alcohol, which obviously we don't have access to, though during the Iridori festival they were selling Rainbow Aster, and there is some more lore to this shop. So Sailing Breeze is actually an old alcohol brand that couldn't keep up with Dawn Winery, so moved overseas where they're doing well for themselves. The only other thing is, they sell dandelion seeds for an outrageous price. 60,000 mora? It seems Miss Bai has some competition. Though to be fair, they are importing this specialty all the way over to Inazuma, so I kinda get it. Apexu is an Inazuman run store. While we the player cannot buy anything, we get an idea of what they sell. Dolls, books, and of course,
statue of Her Excellency, the Almighty Narukami Ogosho, God of Thunder.
The last trader to check out is Ryoko, a street food vendor who sells snacks, namely dry braised salted fish and egg rolls, which by the way also have 3D models. Remember I mentioned that Matsumeru shop selling fertilizer. Yeah, so most of Inazuma's agriculture isn't doing too great. The quest insinuates that they're struggling with crop production and are looking for solutions. And just like everywhere else, they were heavily affected by the decree. Despite being in a crucial spot on the map, talking to the village head reveals how they used to have merchants and adventurers traveling through constantly and could sell their mass-produced lavender melons for different purposes, namely dyes and food. Even their signature village dish contains lavender melon. Looking around, they do also have what I assume are rice farms and smaller tomato farms. People living on the outskirts of the city also produce these. In the description of an Inazuma house furniture, it's stated there is a trend of building the city outward, and these are the most easy to set up houses. When a person saves up enough, they can renovate it too, but given Inazuma's state at the moment, this is a pipe dream for most. As for Inazuma's population, it is relatively small. I wonder why. I only counted 18 as unemployed, which isn't surprising. Pretty much everyone has to be working during war, and Inazuma is much more self-reliant, so the unemployment rate is only 6%, and the city makes up 154 of these NPCs. Inazuma's exports are mainly cultural. It really doesn't have many industries outside of this. The main things it exports are books, the largest publishing industry in 𝙂𝙬𝙖𝙀, with 𝙂𝙚 Publishing House taking the lead, and other items such as fireworks, toys, and clothes. They have tried encouraging tourism and investment with events such as the Iridescence Tour, and to foster better relations between Watatsumi and Narukami, and Narukami Island holds regular fireworks festivals. But probably, if you're from outside of Inazuma, the first thing you likely think of is light novels. 𝙂𝙚 Publishing House, a giant in the industry, and it isn't just books either. They make a killing by selling all sorts of derivative merch, as per some furniture descriptions. An interesting fact, in one of Citlali's voiceovers, we get an idea of how long deliveries between the two regions take, as well as serialization. Speaking of, Inazuma has a large transport company known as Komania Express. Not much is known about them in-game, but they're renowned for their service and deliver 𝙂𝙬𝙀-wide thanks to Carrara. The majority of Inazuma's population is located here, and we see in this city, the businesses are also very local, likely due to the strict enforcements on foreigners until recently. There's a fireworks shop, a blacksmith with an apprentice, which, quick side note, Inazuma might have some kind of formal education, as there is a child NPC who mentions school, and our first restaurant that is often frequented by the Kamisatos. Its owner has made some innovative meals, such as Inazuman style pizza. But why does it say pancake in the description, Anna? Is it a pancake or a pizza? Make up your mind. Sorry. As well as a meal suitable for cats. Other meals we know she makes are dango. All ingredients make sense, but this one, snapdragon, used in quite a few Inazuman dishes, but nowhere to be found in Inazuma. We can buy rice cake soup, another dish that uses Inazuman ingredients, and in a dialogue branch, she gives us sushi. Oh wait, there's also Sayu's quest where she orders tricolor skewers. We find out from this quest too that Kiminami has other members of staff that go out collecting ingredients. Heading up toward Commercial Street, we pass the detective agency and the grocery store, selling rice, shrimp meat, and tofu, common Inazuma ingredients, as well as naku weed, which if anything should be more expensive. Like, people could literally die collecting this stuff. This is the rival of 𝙂𝙀 Restaurant.
I get.
Restaurant? That place isn't even worth mentioning.
In case you didn't realize, I actually do think his stock makes sense. So fish and crab comes in daily, other Inazuman local items every 3 days,
Oh,
and then
I gotta
everything
go
else
back.
comes in restaurant, like an Inazuma ingredients, as well as naku weed, which if anything should be more expensive. Like, people could literally die collecting this stuff. This is the rival
I
of
get
𝙂𝙀
it.
Restaurant.
𝙂𝙀 Restaurant? That place isn't even worth mentioning.
In case you didn't realize, I actually do think his stock makes sense. So fish and crab comes in daily, other Inazuman local items every 3 days, and then everything else takes a week. On the other side of the street is Tomoki, the dango milk guy, who has also expanded to Rito on occasion. His popularity comes from the fact the Electro Archon likes it so much. 1,500 mora for just one though. What's worse is during the Rock and Roll Ito event, he charges double for seemingly no actual difference. Tomoki sells a range of foods too. If we look at his stall, we find takoyaki, doesn't exist in the game, sushi, rice balls, egg rolls, and dango. Yukio's stall serves a few different items, more on the hot side, like ramen,
Okay.
skewers, and tea, and next to him is a lady selling umbrellas and fans. Which brings us to Ogura Textiles. The owner who runs it has a history with Chiori, and reading Chiori's vision story even implies that there is a tailoring industry and school in Inazuma. But Chiori's designs were too revolutionary, so she moved to Fontaine, the capital of fashion, and opened up a successful shop there. Mio, just like all businesses in Inazuma, has struggled due to the decree. High-class silks became virtually impossible to obtain, all the way from Liyue, where they use silk flowers. Tea is popular in Inazuma too, and there's no better place to go and enjoy some tea than Komore Tea House. They say that before the Sakoku decree was handed down, people would flock here from overseas to look upon the glorious countenance of Taromaru of Inazuma City, though I'm not quite sure how they obtain it. The tea, that is, not Taromaru, the goodest boy. At 𝙂𝙚 restaurant, you can't actually buy anything, but it is interesting to see so many models of the in-game foods. Finally, we have the bathhouse. Inspired by the hot springs of the people of the springs, the owner wanted to bring that same experience to Inazuma. However, he lacked the funds, and that's when Mizuki showed up to invest. She is in charge of most of the bathhouse's affairs, in business and development. In her story quest, we're gifted a VIP pass, another way of encouraging guests no doubt, staffed by clinical psychologists and offering spa and fine dining services. So you can stay here, get high-end food, and free therapy. Sign me up. I'm just gonna add this too before we
Sign
move
me
on.
up,
Inazuma
Rumi.
is also known for their flower arranging. As per the Dreams of Bloom event, outside of the city, Inazuma does have a mining industry, just not a very functional one at the moment. First, there's the Mikage furnace, destroyed during the Civil War, and it's only thanks to the Traveler and Xavier that it even got fixed. This kind of is the issue, right? Tatarigami, Orobashi's remains, make mining way too dangerous. Like, you can have Raiden seal it off and then start mining the crystal marrow, which would be an export for them, but as soon as something goes wrong, you see exactly what has happened to these islands. The furnace may be fixed now, and miners may be heading back into work, but in my opinion, as an inspector, it's far too unsafe. Jutsu Mine is a smaller scale mine over near Higi village that was also affected after the seals on the Tatarigami were broken, and the whole island went crazy. The only other civilization lives on Watatsumi Island, where their soil is real dirty, often causing them problems with growing crops. This is due to Ankanamiya trying to suck up the spirit of Watatsumi, causing it to erode. And every so often, someone has to head down to perform a ritual, although Kokomi is attempting to find an alternative solution. The one settlement here, Boro Village, does have a small dock, but you can see just by walking through the place how difficult things have been for people here. They're pretty reliant on fishing and generous merchants such as Kyoko, who tries to keep her rates affordable for the villagers. That is a lot cheaper than you would find in Inazuma City. Same goes for the pharmacist. She isn't from Watatsumi, but helps the locals. So, Watatsumians aren't making much more in exports, just fish and pearls. Hey, so, what with the war being over and everything now, do you think maybe we might be able to catch a break now?
I don't know, maybe, maybe not. Alright. I go on to the next one. Alright. Alright.
That happen in the gacha games community, and as the video progresses, things go from bad to unimaginably disturbing. Nothing brings more excitement to players than the rush of a loot box, but just as easily, that same thrill can become deceitful. For context, loot boxes are locked virtual containers in video games that give players random rewards when opened. The rewards can include items like weapons, skins, characters, players, or other valuable in-game content. Although loot boxes can be earned through gameplay, they can also be bought with real or in-game currencies. On January 17, 2025, the Federal Trade Commission would post a press release banning Genshin Impact game developers from selling loot boxes to younger people, in addition to a substantial $20 million fine to settle FTC charges. But before anyone could actually grasp the details, another news hit the internet about Cognosphere, Genshin Impact's publisher, agreeing to pay the $20 million fine, while also confirming that it would no longer allow younger people of certain ages to make in-game purchases without parental consent. Now, Cognosphere's response raised questions about why the company never tried to fight back, but instead immediately agreed to pay. However, a quick look at the FTC's press release would provide answers to many questions. According to Samuel Levine, the director of the FTC's Bureau of Consumer Protection, Genshin Impact deceived and other players into spending hundreds of dollars on prizes they stood little chance of winning. And although the allegation looked like it came out of nowhere, the tension had been silently building for 8 years. Back in 2017, a heavy global backlash erupted over an EA game. To be more specific, Star Wars Battlefront 2, for the use of loot boxes, kickstarting an investigation into these boxes throughout the entire gaming community. Then in August of 2019, the FTC held a workshop that involved academics, consumer advocates, and others to talk about the marketing of loot boxes and the impact on younger consumers. And this would result in the FTC releasing consumer advice to educate parents and users about the concept of loot boxes in a pretty lengthy article. But even with that, the problem still persisted. However, considering the origin of gacha games, it's not surprising that loot boxes are a vital part of the game. And if you didn't know already, gacha games originated from Japan, and its name is derived from the Japanese toy vending machines called gachapon. Taking this particular gachapon as an example, you could win any of the cars on the label if you put in 300 yen, or about $2. However, you would have to bank on your luck to get your desired car, since the reward is usually selected at random. This mechanism is very similar to loot boxes, which would explain why a lot of money is being pumped into it. Now, before September 2020, the big gacha games were only available on mobile phones, but everything changed on September 28, 2020, when Genshin Impact was launched and made available on laptops and PS4. It really was a game changer for both fans and the company, as the game has generated over $5 billion in revenue since its inception. For comparison, GTA was launched in 1997, and it has a total revenue of $10 billion, while Genshin Impact has made half of that in just 5 years. The major problem lies in 𝙂𝙀𝙣 intention and target audience. Back in December 2022, 𝙂𝙀𝙀 became aware of the FTC's investigation into loot boxes, and immediately responded by adding a notice to the second to last part of its privacy policy, disclaiming that it's marketed its services to adults and adults only. Our services are not marketed to or intended for are not permitted to use these services, and we do not knowingly collect any personal information from Though our services are not intended for as the primary audience, we may collect age information before allowing a user to proceed for certain services. But this actually turned out to be a lie, because after the investigation, the FTC discovered that 𝙂𝙀𝙀 did market to younger people by using characters that appealed to younger audiences and intentionally hired influencers who targeted a younger demographic to promote the game. This included, for example, 𝙂𝙚𝙣𝙚, a YouTuber who makes content for This video was paid by 𝙂𝙀𝙀𝙀 to make this video showing how to play hide and seek on Genshin Impact. Another example would be 𝙂𝙚𝙚𝙀𝙀𝙀, who was paid over $100,000 to record 2 short videos promoting Genshin Impact. For context, 𝙂𝙚𝙚𝙀𝙀 has tens of millions of subscribers on YouTube and is a 2-time winner of Nickelodeon's Choice Awards in their favorite gamer category. And to make things worse, the 𝙂𝙚𝙚𝙀𝙀 promotional video was intentionally edited to trick users into believing it's easy to get the loot box prizes he really wanted. For instance, when a Genshin Impact player opens a loot box containing a 5-star prize, the game displays a golden shooting star animation. But in the 𝙂𝙚𝙚𝙀𝙀 video, the supposed 5-star win was preceded by a purple shooting star animation. This video also depicted an uninterrupted succession of 12 loot box opening animations, when the game allows no more than 10 loot boxes to be opened at a time. And this situation would eventually lead to discussions within the gacha community, with some blaming bad parenting for younger people's addictive in-game purchases, and others calling out the companies themselves. At the end of the day, the company released a statement confirming that the developer of Genshin Impact has reached a settlement agreement with the US Federal Trade Commission. But as weird as this was, it's nothing compared to what comes next.
I think because they
spread my wings sometime and waste all of our money on Genshin gacha.
Here's the thing with this. I think that 𝙂𝙀𝙀 saw this coming. They knew the FTC would pretty much soon knock on their door, and basically Cognosphere got the notice from the FTC, basically a fine for it. If they don't pay it, then they'll have a court summoning. So they just paid it immediately, because having court summoning, especially for a company, is going to cost way more money than it's worth. So that's pretty much, I think that's a big reason why that they immediately paid it.
You know this. I set those boundaries, you narcissist.
On March 19th, 2025, a Reddit user known as 𝙂𝙀𝙀𝙀 posted a story on the Am I Overreacting subreddit, detailing how her fiancé, whom we'll call Phil, blew $600 on a Genshin Impact character. Unlike most games, the thrill in Genshin Impact doesn't come from winning a match or finishing a level, but instead it's about getting the rare 5-star playable character, which are usually stronger than the others and possess unique
Yeah, I think not entirely FTP in Genshin, more of a dolphin spinner, not really spending on anything outside of the Welcome Moon. Outside of that, I don't really spend on Genshin. Plus, yeah, their gacha system is fucking addicting. One of the big reasons why I quit Genshin. Not only they're intentionally, I think there was a time that Tectone spent $12,000 on I think it was I think someone spent $20,000 on Clee, but Tectone spent $2,000 trying to get the staff of Homa, which I think that's one big reason why FGC was looking into it, because after that incident, the FGC pretty much said, "Hey, we're looking into Cognisphere for game for pretty much potentially operating a casino." So Kenshin immediately tried to change the gacha system to make it more clean looking. Yeah.
abilities that play a significant role in the outcome of the gameplay. Players need an in-game currency called Primo Gems, which are either earned through gameplay or purchased with real-life money. In Phil's case, he'd been unlucky with getting his favorite character for so long, which changed on March 19th, 2025, when he decided to try it out one more time with a credit card jointly owned by him and his fiance. After creative
Okay, so right now, I'm pretty happy of the progress I made for this. I wish I could have done the start earlier, but like, I was gonna start, but then I got a notification from a pharmacy say, "Hey, your medication ready." Like, all right, okay, let me just pick my medication up real quick.
Guard found out that Phil had squandered their joint savings. She called him repeatedly, but he never responded. And shortly afterwards, Phil would send a shocking text that took
Okay. Let me save this real quick. Save. And okay, let me pretty much move everything over. I'm not really ending the stream per se. Alright. There we go. Alright, there we go. But yeah. I've I think it's been like probably around maybe another hour or so just to get just give it time. So let me quickly make sure to get everything ready. Close that. But yeah. Let me quickly switch to YouTube reactions. And quickly change the tags.
the situation from bad to worse.
Stop calling me. We need to talk right now. Pick up now. You're not being fair at all. I explain my boundaries to you, but you're not respecting them. This is exactly what Redacted says is violent about you. You spent $600 on our credit card on a game. I explained it already to you. $600 for 2 virtual characters you don't need, without asking. When we're paycheck to paycheck, that card was for emergencies with the Civic.
Even though Creative Guard is obviously annoyed, Phil would remain unfazed, and to make the situation even worse, he would respond with a picture of Farina, the rare character he just won.
You told me you wanted her too, but you aren't happy for me. Actually, I'm done. I'm a 29-year-old man. I'm allowed to make purchases.
If you're irresponsibly spending $600 on a fucking Farina, and you're using a credit card that's meant for your fucking for your car payments. And also, and that, not only car payments, that credit card was for emergencies only. No, hell no. No, I don't. You are not a man. You are a motherfucking child. You are a child. It is an adult child. You're a fucking man child. That's more accurate. You're a fucking man child.
Without needing your permission. That is a violent dynamic. Redacted explained that very clearly to me. Yes, I said I want Farina. I didn't say we should spend hundreds to get consolations. You're an addict. You already spent all of our Christmas money on it. You are snooping into your fiance's purchases. You should take a look at yourself.
To that, Creative Guard would only respond with a middle finger emoji, followed by another message that read,
This is a shared card that I set up for emergencies, and you went behind my back. Why don't you tell Redacted about your gambling addiction to video game characters?
There's a
Phil
on the
would then
waters
simply double
behind
down
me.
and threaten to call off his engagement.
Actually, Redacted told me all about your coercing, and I believe you are a narcissist personality. This is why you are continuing to try and control me and control my financial decision making. You know this is my values, and I've had Farina as my wallpaper forever. I
Alright.
refuse to be verbally
There
disrespectful
we go.
for being myself. I am battling anxiety, and you do not care at all. I don't want to get married to you. I'm not talking on the phone. I emailed screenshots for my appointment tomorrow. Thank you for giving me a horrible anxiety attack and ruining my night. And no, I didn't do a thing with Farina yet because of your calls.
But while Phil's threat was meant to break Creative Guard's heart, she would fire back with a threat that would actually make any Genshin player lose their minds.
I will call Capital One and dispute the charge. Your account will get banned. Try it. You will lose me forever. I'm going to Scottsdale for the night. Stop calling me for 12 hours and we can talk then. Good night.
At this point, Creative Guard decided to let him be, but the next morning, Phil was back in her DM, with both an apology and a new request.
Will you please answer my mom? Please. I apologize for my reaction. As I said, my anxiety is bad today, and I have to do better. I love you. You don't need to dispute the charges. I will get you the money soon. Redacted can spot me 600 tonight. So can you text him your Venmo? Anxiety is really bad. Please.
Creative Guard ignored the message, only to return to Reddit a couple
Fuck. I fucking don't. So there's a type of whales who have the spending power. You can have the spending power. You know, basically have the spare. They can spare some money to get consolation or character. But most players who are F2P or like dolphin spenders do not have that kind of money. Do not have a choice but to save up primo gems. But still, spending $600 on the fucking hell no. I would dispute the charge and press charges on him.
of hours later with an update, explaining the events that followed after she refused to answer the calls of Phil's mom.
His mom left me a voicemail saying I gave him a panic attack and to give him space. I did text his drug dealing friend to try and get the $600, but he left me on red. Also, he's currently online on Discord playing Genshin Impact at his mom's house.
This was then followed by another update detailing how she called off the engagement, got back her $600, and how she has to pay the rent all by herself now. But even though Creative Guard would need all the help she could get to sort out her bills, she chose to walk away from it all. As she posted a final update, engagement is off. This next case, however, takes an even darker turn.
Do not let people, especially randos, into your world.
On August 25th, 2023, a Twitter user
I
named
remember
Eon
this.
would make a disturbing post that rippled through the Genshin Impact community, sending waves of fear and confusion.
Don't let strangers join your world, at least for now. Travelers, be careful with the new 𝙂𝙖 bug. According to a Reddit user, Antonio S3,
Only the host would receive the rewards. Yet any player sharing a world with a malicious user risks having vital in-game not only threaten the stability of the game, but also force 𝙂𝙖verse to take unprecedented legal action. According to reports, a certain group had begun developing a powerful cheat software as early as 2020, capable of granting players infinite primo gems, Genshin's most valuable in-game currency, and between October 2020 and May of 2021, they sold nearly 40,000 activation keys, profiting close to $300,000. And for several months, these criminals were never caught. But by mid-2021, Chinese authorities actually managed to crack down on this operation, arresting 3 individuals identified as Zhou, Sun, and Yao. Investigators would later find out that Zhou was the ringleader, who, according to reports, negotiated with Sun to get data from Genshin Impact from Yao in order to mass-produce the cheats. Eventually,
It's a contact dependent, yeah.
the 3 of them would plead guilty and be sentenced according to the gravity of their actions. Zhou, the group's leader, received jail time of 4 years, along with a 50,000 Chinese yuan fine. The second group member was sentenced to 3 years and 10 months in jail, with another 50,000 Chinese yuan fine, while the third group member was given 1 year and 6 months with a 10,000 Chinese yuan fine. For reference, 50,000 Chinese yuan is currently about $7,000. A happy ending for 𝙂𝙖verse, unlike the next case where a hacker did something horrible and got away with it.
Only one day after its release, Infinity Nikki was hacked with a bold statement. Yourself or just better try Genshin Impact private server.
It was December 5th, 2024. The gacha community was buzzing with excitement and anticipation for the launch of Infinity Nikki, a new gacha game developed by Infold Games. Unlike most gacha games where players spend money to pull for characters or weapons, Infinity Nikki offers something very different. Here, players pull for fashion outfits that grant Nikki, the main character, unique powers and abilities, which it then uses to explore its beautifully crafted open world. But while players hurried to the official site to download the game, the excitement quickly turned into horror, because the moment they entered the site, they were met with a disturbing message plastered across the homepage.
page. Take yourself out of this world, or just try Genshin Impact private server.
Beneath the message was a QR code, which reportedly directed users to a Genshin Impact Discord server, and within minutes, the chaos spread into the official website for Love and Deep Space, another game developed by Infold Games. For nearly an hour, both sites were taken down after their front pages got hijacked by an unknown hacker, and then, just as quickly as it begun, the sites were restored, and the message was gone, but the damage was still there. The QR code led to speculations that this was some kind of provocation from an outsider trying to stir conflict between fans of Genshin Impact and Infinity Nikki, but soon afterwards, community members tracked the attack to a Discord username known as 𝙂𝙚𝙣𝙚_GG, although this person was never punished. Following the incident, an Infinity Nikki representative spoke to the press, describing the team's reaction as a mix of frustration and relief, explaining that while the hack was unsettling, no long-term harm was actually done.
Obviously a bit of a bummer, but they're more focused on launching and making sure Nikki's birthday goes well than worrying about some bad actors ruining their big day.
Despite everything, the event went ahead as planned. However, the hack launch left behind a dark mark on what should have been a pure celebration. If the hacker was caught, he would have been in serious trouble, just like the game developers in this next case.
And have levied against them the highest fine in their history, the highest fine they've ever given a company, which was $9 million.
On June 16, 2025, the Korean Fair Trade Commission, KFTC, suddenly announced new penalties on Krafton, the company behind PUBG Battlegrounds, the creators of Starseed, Asnia Trigger, punishing them for the lack of transparency surrounding their in-game purchases, which allowed them to take advantage of their audience. Both studios were ordered to pay 2.5 million won, which is only around $1,850 each, and to submit preventative action plans within 30 days. At first glance, the penalty seemed almost insignificant for companies of their size, but what the investigation actually uncovered painted a far darker picture of how these developers had been operating behind the scenes. This all began in March of 2023, when the South Korean government decided to revise the Game Industry Promotion Act, a law designed to bring transparency to probability-based items, or what most gamers would call gacha games. Under this law, developers are required to clearly disclose the actual odds of obtaining specific in-game rewards. But according to complaints filed by many users, certain game developers haven't been as transparent as the law requires. By March 2024, investigators found that Krafton had been misrepresenting the chances of receiving rare items. According to reports, one of the cases involved a collaboration event with the K-pop group NewJeans, in which Krafton promised players a guaranteed chance at owning a special cosmetic item, staying locked at just 9% no matter how many times the player actually rolled. Even more disturbing was the fact that some items that Krafton claimed had drop rates between 0.14% and 0.75% were later found to have no chances of appearing at all. But Krafton wasn't alone. Investigators discovered that Come2Us also had been falsely advertising the odds of its own rewards. The company claimed that the 3 items sold in one bundle each had a 24% chance of improving player stats, but in reality, only one of those items ever did. Following the KFTC ruling, both companies were forced to make things right, with Krafton having to refund over 1.1 billion won, which is about $870,000, to more than 380,000 players, in addition to 9.8 million won, both in in-game currency as compensation for the affected players. On the other hand, Come2Us distributed over 200,000 won worth of in-game currency to each of its 1.55 million users, regardless of whether they made purchases tied to the incident or not. But in the end, both of the fines and refunds, when stacked together, were mere drops in the ocean compared to the billions these companies hold in net worth. So both Krafton and Come2Us really walked away with a slap on the wrist, while this next company faced an issue much more disturbing.
What happened in Japan recently with Square Enix in their headquarters and this dude emailing them saying he's gonna kill them all?
I remember
in August
this.
of 2019, Square Enix, the well-known on July 18, 2019, when 40-year-old Shinji Aoba set fire to the offices at Kyoto Animation, claiming that the studio had plagiarized his novel. The attack took the lives of over 30 people and left many others seriously injured. Eventually, Shinji was arrested and given the capital punishment, so he was sentenced to death. And this would explain why neither Kenichi nor Yuto's threat was taken lightly by authorities. Fortunately, none of them acted on their threats, but not every story ends that way, because the next case would take things a little too far.
Only a thing that happened. It was like a full-on assassination attempt.
It all begins on April 22nd, 2021, when MiHoYo celebrated the 3rd anniversary of Honkai Impact 3rd, one of their earlier titles. To mark the occasion, they released a special anniversary event featuring new bunny girl costumes and an animated music video titled Brilliant Light. In the video, the game's main heroines, known as Valkyries, performed a dance wearing kinda revealing outfits. To many global players, it was just harmless fun, but to others, particularly in China, it was seen as deeply disrespectful. One user would later post a tweet addressing the outrage saying,
"At the 3rd anniversary of GLB server, the Valkyries put on their exposed clothes clothes, and dance. Chinese players believe the touch of plot is essentially an OOC, out of character, and a disrespect for Valkyries.
He would then go into detail highlighting one character in particular.
By the way, Fuhua, like Zhongli, is a symbol of China's 5,000 years civilization, and when Chinese players see Fuhua dancing on the stage in exposed clothes, they will be very sad, because they think it will be disrespectful for China. It's lamentable, isn't it?
And after hours of receiving non-stop backlash, 𝙂𝙗 would respond with an apology, and promise to remove every content related to the bunny girls. However, this decision would also end up creating even more division within the community. While some players supported the removal, others accused the company of caving into the outrage. Comments would start flooding in immediately, with one player tweeting,
"Thanks for the crystals, 𝙂𝙗, but seriously, what? The content is the best. I love bunny girls. It's beautiful, and I can't just understand how someone can possibly find this offensive. That's why we can't have nice things, because of some people."
Another fan would also express
Also because of cultural differences. Plus, 𝙂𝙗 is based in China, and let's just say, hold on, let's just see. What comparison can I do? Let's see here. Oh yeah, you know, remember what happened with I forget, was it one of those? I can't remember. But some dude looked like he lived in his mom's basement, created some sort of a cryptocurrency that would change the world. Now he's on the FBI mode. Now he has a warrant on him. Interesting. It's not the one that you're thinking of. It's someone else.
their displeasure, saying,
"Out of character."
Alright.
They're pixels. 𝙂𝙗, stop letting your players bully you. This is just like the Genshin drama last time.
But on April 24th, 2021, things escalated to a new level. That day was supposed to be just another day of work for most employees at 𝙂𝙗, still the developers of Genshin Impact. But before the day would end, their usual routine would be disrupted by an armed intruder. According to reports, an unidentified man who will refer to as 𝙂𝙚 quietly entered 𝙂𝙗's headquarters, armed with a knife with the intention of taking out the company's founders. Now luckily, before he could actually harm anyone, the security officers at the building managed to subdue him, after which the police then arrived to take him into custody. Now the authorities immediately launched an investigation to determine the motive behind the attack, and what they uncovered was extremely unsettling. Apparently, the reason 𝙂𝙚 was so upset was because 𝙂𝙗 made that recent change to the game. Some believe he was furious about the bunny girl content itself, while others think he was enraged over its removal, viewing it as a betrayal of the players. Another user also speculated that 𝙂𝙚 was just another Chinese player who may have been triggered by the fact that the Brilliant Bright video wasn't broadcast in mainland China at all, due to its revealing nature. But as unsettling as this story was, the next case was so chaotic that the internet itself needed a break.
I'm quitting. I lost absolutely everything. My marriage, my career, my livelihood, my will to live.
On June 8th, 2024, Asian guy stream better known as 𝙂𝙗, who's a Genshin Impact YouTuber, would post a tweet saying,
"I'm quitting. I lost absolutely everything. My marriage, my career, my livelihood, my will to live. Keeping these secrets to protect others has felt so lonely. I don't want to live like this anymore. This document is for my closure. I want to move on."
And attached to the tweet was a 34-page long document where 𝙂𝙗 would go into great detail about how his life took a tragic turn behind the scenes. And within minutes, this tweet exploded across social media, gaining millions of impressions and thousands of retweets, with countless creators rallying behind it. But while many of 𝙂𝙗's fans and friends seemed to understand what he was going through, most people didn't really know how the game was brand new and booming with attention. And to keep that momentum going, countless creators began producing content about the game. Reviews, guides, and gameplay streams meant to boost its reach. But as Genshin Impact's popularity grew, so did the tension in its newly established community. And soon, small conflicts would start bubbling beneath the surface. One of the earliest dramas would involve Tectone and 𝙂𝙗, who were both prominent figures in the Genshin community, after Tectone mocked free-to-play players, claiming that all they ever did in the game was pick mints.
Envy's not free to play, okay? That dude plays this game every day for like 14 hours. At that point, you're not free to play. Don't believe me that 𝙂𝙗 is the one true mint picker. Well, why don't we go look at it?
Yeah, because I hated Tectone. It was in this Genshin Impact era. I used to watch Tectone both the Tectone and 𝙂𝙗, but I stopped watching Tectone as soon as he pretty much became toxic and started mocking, excluding FTP players, and pretty much borderline discriminating them too. It was to the point that he got a strike on his YouTube channel for violating YouTube guidelines, and he got a cease and desist.
His YouTube channel, mint. Mint.
For context, in Genshin Impact, people can collect a variety of items scattered across the world, but mints are basically everywhere, very common and nearly useless. So when Tecton compared free-to-play players to mint pickers, it came off as a demeaning joke, aimed at those who either couldn't or didn't want to spend money on the game. And this started a minor feud that would eventually fizzle out after some back and forth, bringing a temporary calm to the gacha community. But that peace and quiet wouldn't last too long. As content slowed and creators ran out of excitement, boredom began to set in within the community, with some creators even claiming that the Genshin scene was dying altogether. And then 𝙂𝙀 made a move that would reignite the community and ironically sparked one of the most chaotic controversies in gacha history. On January 5th, 2022, 𝙂𝙀 introduced two new Genshin Impact characters, 𝙂𝙤 and 𝘠𝙀𝙀, both of which were visually stunning, and 𝙂𝙤 would come with a twist.
𝘠𝙀𝙀? 𝘠𝙀𝙀? Okay, is this bitch using AI? Okay, I know he's using a voice, but come on. I know you write your own scripts, I get that. At the same time, yes, you probably already double-checked your script. Probably triple-check it. Triple-check it next time.
A very rare ability to sing not just any song, but a traditional Chinese opera. This feature instantly divided the community, because while many praised the cultural depth of 𝙂𝙤's performance, one streamer's reaction would draw a lot of attention for all the wrong reasons.
It sounds like she's calling an ambulance when chat's ears are already bleeding.
This clip soon spread like wildfire, with many accusing Tecton of being disrespectful and racist towards Chinese culture, and his name also traveled far into Chinese media, where 𝙂𝙤's performance was seen as a symbol of national pride. On January 7th, 2022, 𝙂𝙂 began posting a series of subtweets that referenced someone negatively, without mentioning names.
There's a lot of creators that come across as genuine nice people on stream/video, but are actually like parasites behind the scenes. If you don't bend to their will, they'll make a big deal out of it publicly, or drag your name through the mud, behind your back to other creators.
Shortly after that, he would follow up with another tweet saying,
"There are many creators in the Genshin circle and wider connected circles I'd like to befriend or get to know better, but they're already in so deep with many people who are awful people off stream, and it makes me skeptical if they're just naive or also awful behind the scenes."
Because 𝙂𝙂 was one of the community's most respected creators, these tweets set off a firestorm, as everyone tried to figure out who he was actually referring to. 𝙂𝙂, another Genshin Impact streamer who was also Tecton's roommate, would later respond to 𝙂𝙂, asking him to clarify who he was talking about, before dropping a video titled, "These types of people are ruining Genshin Impact." In the first 3 minutes of the video, 𝙂𝙂 would accuse 𝙂𝙂 of being immature for subtweeting, before shifting the focus to the fact that both he and Tecton had been unfairly labeled as racist for disliking 𝙂𝙤's opera. And right after this video was published, Tecton also clapped back almost immediately, going live to leak private DMs between him and 𝙂𝙂, escalating the drama even further. In response, 𝙂𝙂 released a video titled 𝙂𝙂 and Tecton Drama, accusing 𝙂𝙂 of hypocrisy, showing several examples of subtweets Tecton had also done in the past, and revealing that he and Tecton had previously made a private agreement not to talk about each other.
To keep you at arm's length simply because they don't really know you that well, and I found it a bit
with a lengthy post of his own, claiming Braggs had always been obsessed with him, and that his warnings about the predatory voice actor were what originally made him distrustful. He would also accuse Braggs of intentionally posting a video that revealed a private creator's identity, claiming that Braggs didn't post it by mistake. He backed this nothing short of harrowing.
When people saw who the English voice was, Chris Neosy.
On June 18th, 2024, Honkai Star Rail dropped a bombshell that would send the whole gacha community into a frenzy, introducing brand new characters for into a post-shift. However, the story doesn't stop there. On July 14th, 2019, a post appears on Tumblr titled
"Chris Neosy is an emotionally violent, terrible person."
And as disturbing as this title sounds, the content of the post is even darker. And Amy's post worth mentioning.
Exactly what he was doing. Thankfully, I was aware enough at the time to tell him to back up, but it disturbs me to this day. He saw me being drunk on my birthday as an opportunity.
According to the lengthy post, after Amy broke up with Chris, he kept contact.
This needs to be corrected, so I'm going to be as explicit as possible here. I've never forced myself on anyone. I've never beaten anyone. I've to casting calls and auditions for my job, but I refuse to add fuel to the heaping trash fire that it is. I know posting this puts me at risk of the same sort of vitriol that Chris is facing right now. I would rather stand up for my colleague than remain.
The story about him was different. It came with so much evidence that even 𝙂𝙀 fans were forced to agree that he was guilty. This victim was a young fan named Kazuya, who claimed to have been obsessed with both the character Tighnari and the voice actor behind the character.
I was following the English
I
voice
remember
actor
this
for a while,
too.
but I didn't exactly reach out to him. I would watch his streams, etc. One day I wanted to share my Tighnari art with him and send him on the Instagram DMs. We talked normally for a while.
Took a turn for the worse, especially after 𝙂𝙀 sent Maya an explicit image of himself and demanded one in return.
I need some comfort, but 𝙂𝙀, prove it. How? Show me an explicit picture of yourself. What? No.
Maya would stop responding to 𝙂𝙀's messages altogether, and just as he had always done in the past, he threatened to
on changes. I was not waiting for someone younger to become older. I flatly rejected. We hereby confirm that 𝙂𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙖𝙀𝙬𝙀, the English voice actor for 𝙂𝙤𝙤𝙀𝙧𝙀, will no longer be voicing the character in subsequent versions.
Yeah. Yeah, the Elliot situation, I was there for it. Well, not like victim, but like I saw the entire shit go that shipwreck go down in real time, and that was just I just like it's like oh, what the fuck. And immediately as a result of that coming out, everyone switched away from English voice actors until Technara got his new voice, and then everyone switched back. I stayed in Japanese because I think because I stuck with the Japanese voice Japanese voice actors because of the English voice actor strike. I understand why it happened. At the same time, there was also many voice actors that pretty much took advantage of it and tried to pretty much I don't like saying this word, but pretty much, but it describes what this situation was for the English voice acting strike. Because some of the English voice actors who decided to take advantage of this situation were basically fuck, what's the word again? Something agenda. I forget the actual word. But yeah, they're trying to force their own beliefs down everyone else's throat. Alright, let's go. Here, it's fine. Okay, about 30 minutes.
I know.
Wait. Oh, Rogue Clan, let's fucking go. Oh, shit. Okay. Alright, there we go.
I know that Christmas
I don't know what PC was doing.
and overconsumption kind of go hand in hand, but it's worse than ever, ladies and gentlemen, because this woman uploaded a video of herself unboxing the brand new Laneige quote lip mask toppers that have been released for Christmas, and I can't even begin to express the loud groan that left my body when I watched this video, because I couldn't think of a more unnecessary product to waste your money on if I tried. This is $15. A lip mask topper to put on the lid of the product is $15. I literally wish I was making this up. Is it not absolutely ridiculous that something like this is even being offered to their customers? It offers zero purpose. It doesn't help you apply the lip gloss. It doesn't have any product inside of it for you to use. And it doesn't even have something as useless as something to mix the product with if the lip gloss starts to harden. Nothing of the sort. It literally just sits on top of your lip mask, the container of it, to make it look more festive for the holidays.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
As if that's something that people have ever needed to care about, making their makeup look Christmassy. This is not only a waste of materials, but it's a waste of money that has no genuine reason or purpose to exist other than more profit.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. And in this next video, which is a quote Amazon must have, this woman starts the video with her Christmas themed Stanley. Wow, shocker, am I right? She then proceeds to open a package that includes light up garland exclusively to fit around the Stanley Cup, with miniature decorations to hang off of that garland exclusively to decorate your drink bottle like a Christmas tree. This kit
Huh?
is 26 Australian dollars and shipping is 15 Australian dollars, which means I'm paying over $40, the price of the Stanley Cup, just to have a couple of miniature decorations hanging off of my drink bottle for a month before
No.
taking them off as soon as the new year hits and either leaving them to collect dust in a drawer somewhere in my house that will eventually get lost, or just straight up throwing them away entirely because it's actual useless garbage that serves no other purpose but to be on this Stanley Cup. Look, I love
I don't
decorating
understand
for the
that.
holidays
I
just
just
as much
don't.
as the next person. Clearly, look behind me. But this is an insane waste of your money because there's a difference between decorating your room or a tree in your living area or the outside of your house versus decorating your water bottle. Because when has this ever been something that people have done? I think something else that really bothers me about Christmas decor now is just how much it's worshipping brands nowadays. Like, I know Christmas has
Hell
always
no.
been a holiday for capitalism, but at least the decor had a strict theme that was timeless, festive, and classy. But now it's getting to the point where they're trying to shove
There's Chat, if you want some Christmas stuff and it also like feels old school, go to an antique shop. They pretty much have good shit there.
advertising into your house in the most tacky way imaginable by selling, quote, baubles that are just cans of soda or bags of chips or buckets of chicken or bottles of sauce or packets of candy or tins of meat and jars of pickles disguised as, quote, Christmas decorations. This is just peak overconsumption to me because not one singular human being is putting a single decoration from this entire aisle on their Christmas tree in their house. Not only are they $6.17 each, which is money that could be spent on a real bag of chips or a real bottle of sauce that can actually be used and eaten on Christmas Day because it's tasteless and it's kitsch. So they mass produce these baubles thinking that they'll be a sellout and a hit of the season because they think the general public is stupid enough to buy them because we worship them that much. So what happens after the holidays? Straight to the landfill. I hate how much they think we will just buy anything that they release, dude, just because it has their logo on it. Oh, I eat that bucket of chicken in real life. How cool would it be to put on my tree? Like, who do you think we are? So I'm glad these are gonna fail. But it's not just Walmart selling miniature versions of junk food as ornaments to put on your tree this Christmas, because Trader Joe's has decided to jump on the bandwagon in the most self-absorbed way imaginable by selling miniature decorations in the shape and style of their own goddamn tote bags that people have been fighting over all year because they know people worship their bags enough to put them on their trees.
Hell no.
And just when I thought people didn't worship brands. I was trying to give y'all the benefit of the doubt, but I'm being proven wrong here. And you want to know what the worst part about this is to me? People fell for it. I can't even sit here with little faith I have left in humanity and say, oh my god, who out there would actually buy something as useless as a miniature tote bag decoration for their Christmas tree? Because people lined up to do that exact thing.
All the time.
Crazy.
Alright, I'm gonna let you off.
Oh.
What the fuck?
Oh, nice.
Come on in.
It's moving really quick though.
How are we doing?
Hi, thank you. Cute.
I'm so excited.
I'm happy for mom. It took us 5 minutes.
Never in my life, in any of the 21
What the
Christmases
fuck?
that I've lived through, have I ever seen people line up at the crack of dawn to buy Christmas decorations that look like the bag that they do.
Here's the thing. This right here. So I think it was like last week that I went to Home Depot. I think last week or 2 weeks ago that I went to Home Depot because I needed to get a new ice scraper because the previous one I had for like 6 years broke. Like the actual ice scraper part of it broke in half. I had to get a new one. I saw motherfucking you see these Lowe's bucket bags in here? There's Home Depot versions of it in here, and like, oh, this is cute. Like, wait a minute. This was like a tree decoration? Why would I want to do that? Nah. I am not turning my Christmas tree into a goddamn advertisement. Fuck that shit.
Their grocery shopping with in real life. I actually loathe my local grocery stores for how greedy and despicable their prices have become. So I wouldn't want anything to do with them on my tree. But the reality is, as much as people rightfully complain about the price of food and the grocery stores that are happily price gouging this food, they're still lining up to put them on their Christmas trees for the holidays. And that's why these companies don't take anyone's complaints seriously and why they'll never change.
Here's the thing. I have a strict food budget. That was originally I tried to stay under $100. That's impossible nowadays. And it's gotten to the point that I had to go to a food pantry just to get some food because I was barely able to pay my rent. I'm barely able to pay my rent because of fucking price gouging food, all of that. But also, he goes, okay, so car fuel is good. Car fuel is decent, I understand that. Phone bill is decent. However, okay, rent is over fucking priced as is. It's gonna get even more overpriced. We're gonna get priced out of apartments to the point that usually right now you minimum you're maybe stretching with two roommates. Three roommates is a sweet spot for paying rent and saving up money. Now maybe you're gonna need I don't know, next 2 years, 3 years, maybe you're gonna need 4 roommates, 5 roommates, 6 roommates. You can keep it adding up as time goes on. It's getting fucking ridiculous. And that's why I'm trying to save as much as I can to eventually move out of the country, but I can't even save up for shit. Here's the thing. I make minimum wage. Minimum wage is becoming really minimum to the point that by the end of the month, my monthly food budget, my rent, my phone bill, the cost for car fuel, and whatever emergency expenditures I have to make, especially when it comes to medication, I'm barely left for shit. I'm barely left with $200 in my bank account, and then each month, I'm at a loss for words of what to do myself. I'm at a loss for I don't know what to do. I'm at a loss for words. I can't afford shit. I can't afford to save up any fucking money. That's why each week that I get paid, I put a few dollars in my I transfer a few dollars from my checking to my savings, just to build up some sort of savings, at the very least. I genuinely don't know what to do. Also, it's also the reason why that I on Twitter and Blue Sky that I made a post saying that I am just posting art commissions now because I can't afford shit. I can't afford shit with a full-time job. I don't know what to do, chat. I don't know what to do.
Because we claim to hate them, but then we'll go ahead and put them on our Christmas tree for the entire season. They literally have Ozempic, an Ozempic needle available to buy as a Christmas decoration to put on your Christmas tree in your family's house.
Is that actually? Oh no, it's not. But what the fuck?
For £28.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And you want to tell me that Christmas overconsumption hasn't come too far when people are putting weight loss drugs on their tree? I don't care if it's for irony. What is happening in the world right right now. But it's not just Trader Joe's mini bags being used as Christmas decorations. Something that also pisses me off is people uploading gift idea videos using miniature Stanley cups and filling them with a bottle of antibacterial hand spray. So just hand sanitizer in a mini Stanley cup and boom, that's someone's Christmas present done. A Stanley Cup ornament keychain is literally my worst nightmare. I'm not even kidding with you. I don't want your products on my keys or on my bag or on my tree, for God's sake.
no.
You're just a cup, so know your damn place. But also, this is just the most ridiculous gift that you could give someone, because take away the keychain and you're literally just giving someone hand sanitizer for Christmas.
I don't get
I need
it.
you to
I don't
understand
get
how
it.
stupid that is. That is crazy. If someone gave me hand sanitizer as a Christmas present, I would think that they don't even know me. And I would think to myself immediately, are you trying to tell me something by giving me this hand sanitizer? What are you implying here? And as for the keychain, there is a 99.9% chance, if not an 100% chance, that person is just gonna throw it in the drawer beside their bed, never to be seen by the light ever again.
Yeah.
Because essentially, the gift is the hand sanitizer and the wrapping paper is the Stanley Cup. The Stanley Cup keychain is what makes it socially acceptable to gift somebody hand sanitizer for Christmas. What are we doing here? And here's where I know we've gone too far in overconsumption, because for their holiday collection, Starbucks has released a collection of, quote, blind boxes that include silicone keychains that have, quote, lid stoppers attached to them that can be stuffed in the hole on top of your coffee for whatever reason. And the only reason some people got these to begin with is not because they actually wanted them, but because they missed out on buying the barista cup. So they needed to leave their Starbucks with something so that it wasn't a complete waste of their morning. Why would you need this? It's just another cash grab from Starbucks, and too many people are blind to that. It just seems like something that you would buy and use once, you know, like right after buying it. Then you realize how useless it is because you've lived 30 years of your life just fine without needing this in your cup. And it's too much effort to remember to pull this out every single time you get a to-go drink for a few seconds at most, because you'll want to take the next sip of your drink in literally no time. So I genuinely can't wrap my head around any reason why somebody would need to buy this. Were we not doing just fine beforehand? Drinks from a takeaway cup don't spill nearly enough for somebody to buy this, unless they're throwing it around like a newborn baby learning how to eat and drink for the first time. Then this is just more overconsumption for a problem that doesn't exist. But it's not just lid stoppers that they're selling, because they're also selling basically an identical product with their blind boxes for, quote, straw toppers in Christmas designs. I said it as well with the lid stoppers. Who the hell needs this? When has anyone asked for this? Especially Christmas themed, because it's only a month out of the year most people would use it. Why the hell is this useless piece of silicone $15? I know that people love to Christmasify everything in their homes during the holiday season, like their bed sheets or their pajamas or their candles. But what the hell is a straw topper? What, you're telling me after hundreds of years of our drinks with straws in them being completely safe and completely fine, we suddenly need that bullshit? Especially Christmas themed? Because obviously they already sell them. Now they're just selling them Christmas themed.
Trying to sell a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. Or companies making a problem and then selling them the solution. I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it.
So the target audience of this already has this dumb straw topper. You want them to buy another one just because it's Christmas themed? You will literally lose this by the new year. So please don't even bother. And on top of the lid stoppers, and on top of the straw toppers, the Starbucks Christmas overconsumption continues, because now they're selling miniature aprons for a goddamn Labubu, which is already overconsumption core as is, that doesn't even fit the goddamn Labubu correctly, and a gift card that you don't even get to keep if you don't load at least $20 onto it. How many more pointless products do they plan to release this month? Like, honestly, when does it end with Starbucks? I don't even know why they're selling all of this bullshit. They're a cafe. Stay in your goddamn lane. Their
Exactly.
lane being, you know, coffee and food. When did they think they needed to start selling impractical stationery and costumes for third-party products that have absolutely nothing to do with what they sell or what their company was even created for? That have literally nothing to do with either food or drink?
Huh? Oh, nah. Nah.
There
AI.
are reindeer antlers coming out of that present. There are reindeer melting into one another and melting into a creature from a horror movie with no distinct or discernible characteristics, and a baby reindeer that genuinely looks like it wants to be put out of its misery because it has one leg, one ear, and 3 antlers, so its existence is just constant agony, and that is what is being sold to the public nowadays during the Christmas season.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
How far Christmas has fallen, really. That is the new normal. Actual, legitimate slop on the shelves. It only looks good when you're 30 feet away. The closer you get, the worse it looks, so why would anybody buy that? It's just shit to put on the shelves for the sake of it, just to make money because it's Christmas season, and it's disgusting. And don't even get me started on the junk that is stuffed inside advent calendars now. Like, when I was a kid, it was always little chocolates or little gummy candies in advent calendars for Christmas. But now, it's legitimate junk that's been designed off of a Gen Alpha brain rot meme that they don't even think is cool or funny anymore. The magic of Christmas is gone. It has been obliterated. Now, it's just, what is currently trending on TikTok so that we can put it on an advent calendar to make the kids of today want to buy it because they don't even get a chance to believe in Santa or the spirit of Christmas anymore because of social media. What can we do to make kids want to buy advent calendars? And this is what they come up with. That is what they produce out of that mindset. AI generated art of a brain rot meme that isn't spoken about anymore with poorly made 3D printed abominations inside of it that don't even have any specific features to tell you what this is supposed to be. There's nothing Christmassy about this, and it pisses me off thinking about how mass-produced this bullshit is nowadays because it's a complete waste of our resources. What kid is going to be excited about opening this every single day of December? Not a single one. Then we have even more AI-generated slop, but directed towards millennials, because I can tell you right now, nobody else but a millennial would buy this, with the, quote, swear bear advent calendar that has terribly produced plastic bears inside that say, F you, zero chill, F my life, I don't give a F, not today, asshole,
What the
F off,
fuck?
I'm fabulous, wish a B word would, 0 F's given, Merry effing Christmas, sarcasm is my superpower, hell no, eat shit, drama queen, shout out drama queen, the better drama queen, shady B word, the F
Shameless plug. Shameless plugging. Shameless plugging. I love it.
Nowadays. Oh my god! A Care Bear is saying a swear word! Ah! You know, like, really?
I think this comes from the animation from Robot Chicken. More specifically, the swear bear scene.
That's impressive to y'all. We are doomed. There is no hope. And to the surprise of absolutely nobody, people in the comments under this video were saying that the reviews for this advent calendar are bad. Wow, who could have possibly seen that one coming? You're telling me an advent calendar with AI-generated graphics being sold for $80 by generic on the Amazon marketplace is bad? Holy smokes! Didn't know that was gonna happen, am I right, folks? Use your brain. Use the brain. Use the brain. Oh, Jesus Christ. Use your brain.
Hey, Drama Queen ASMR, let's go.
It costs that much. Like, are we being for real? Especially when it's just AI-generated garbage that costs absolutely nothing to make because it's just a shitty prompt that's generated in 2 seconds for free. A normal, regular advent calendar from your local grocery store is at most $5. So where are you getting the audacity from to charge $80? Like my voice is cracking. What an absolute disaster. The state of
It is a
advent calendars now
disaster.
just makes me nauseous. What used to be exciting is now just slop. Another trend during the holiday season is when idiots on TikTok make, quote, Christmas restock videos and buy these Christmas-themed bottles of their favorite milks or creamers, but then decide to pour them all out into these horrifically boring and bland containers when the drinks were already in their own bottles to begin with, as if that doesn't just defeat the entire purpose of buying the drink to begin with. If it's Christmas themed, then just leave the drinks in their Christmas themed bottles. Otherwise, there's no point in doing a Christmas restock video. It's like the people who buy Christmas themed cereal and then just pour it all into a see-through plastic jug. Like, can somebody tell me why we're still trying to be neat and tidy and aesthetic during Christmas? It is literally pointless to be buying these containers from Amazon because
I don't
the
understand.
cereal already comes in a box of its own. This is just a waste of money and it takes away the Christmas magic. We only get these boxes and these bottles for a month out of the whole year. It won't kill you to stop trying to be aesthetic for 30 days. Put the Amazon away. Like, is it not the silliest thing in the world to pour a bottle of liquid that's already in its own bottle into a glass jar so that you can no longer identify what's in the jar? So then you have to print out an ugly sticker of what's in the jar, as if that's not what the bottle was for to begin with, so that it tells you what's in the bottle, and you're not going to be able to use that specific flavor of cold brew for long before they take it off the shelves again until next Christmas, which means these stickers are just going to end up being thrown away probably in a day or two, which is just ridiculous because printing stickers could have been avoided entirely had you just kept it in the bottle that it came in.
I just drove 2 hours and spent $700 to pick up a gingerbread house from ludicrous Bakery, which is the same place that the Kardashians get their iconic gingerbread houses from every single year. This is the ludicrous Bakery in Solvang, California, and
Absolutely a ludicrous price for a gingerbread house. You can't eat it, you can't preserve it so that it lasts for a lifetime, so you're essentially paying $700 for what exactly? Where are y'all getting the money from to blow $700 on a gingerbread house? That is obscene. The entire point of a gingerbread house is to decorate them with your family and to create memories to look back on fondly in the future, no matter how terrible the end result may look. It's the activity with your loved ones that matters, not that the Kardashians put it in their house. And that doesn't cost $700. Getting a designer gingerbread house, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say, purely for aesthetics with no family involvement and no mess to clean up afterwards and no unforgettable memories of eating the icing at the same time as you're decorating or fighting about where the gumdrops or the chocolates should be placed on the roof, that costs almost $1,000 is wild to me. Anyways, guys, thank you so much.
That's fucking wild. At this point, even game consoles now is going. Oh no, it's costing you damn near $1,000, close to it. I don't fucking understand.
If I told you 𝙂𝙚 was a meta unit capable of beating the hardest content in the game despite years of power creep, you might not believe me. But I'm going to prove she can, because 𝙂𝙚 was my first main, a character I and many others loved but seems to have been forgotten. Also, oh boy, instead of losing the 50-50 to 𝙂𝙀, I could lose it to Klee. Anyways, with fewer and fewer people wanting to play an outdated character, Hoyoverse doesn't seem to have any plans of rerunning her.
Yeah.
But what if 𝙂𝙚 is more than an outdated physical DPS? I mean, this is how Genshin tells you to build her, but what if it was a lie? What if Hoyoverse was keeping 𝙂𝙚 off banner to hide her secret? To hide how she's really supposed to be played, the way Genshin really intended. So, I have given my 𝙂𝙚 5 bounties to complete, each one getting increasingly more difficult and in hand, proving her to be a better character. This is the 𝙂𝙤 one? Not the Crow one, right? I just thought the 𝙂𝙤 one was a little more blue, right? Because there's no way this one's the cryo one again. That would be impossible. Let me just see his elemental attack, because it'll be like a frost breath, right? He's cryo. He's cryo. He's cryo. What? Okay, with that objective now totally, completely successful, it's time to move on to the next one. Currently, my highest damage is 921,000 with my Shogun, but I've always wanted to crack that 1 million damage barrier. Also, this bounty is kind of just for fun, really. Like, who cares about nuke damage? But I want to see big number. Oh, shoot the camera. Now, I think I can do it against nuke damage, but I want to see big number. Oh, shoot the camera. Now,
shoot the camera.
Nuke burst, though, for 1 million damage. Exactly, Mona. What? Hello? Is she reading the script with me? Like, what's going on? Hello? Obviously, TTDS is gonna buff. Obviously, Raiden is good, as is Bennett, though? Give him Freedom Sworn, bro. Hello? And for this, I decide to opt for a slightly different set. Emblem. Since it gives tons of burst damage, it's actually really good for crit fishing builds. Especially if you have good substats. Yeah, bro. 257 crit damage. So after tapping E on Bennett for 2 minutes, I set up my rotation, activate a food buff, and...
Did not crit.
Boom! 1 mil! Let's go, dude! I actually hit 1 mil. Let's freaking go! Alright, 𝙂𝙚, it's time for your next challenge. It's time for Stygian Onslaught. This team right here is the reason I keep Bennett C5, bro. Because I want to play him with 𝙂𝙚. That's literally it. Here she will face her most fearsome opponent yet, the 𝙂𝙤 𝘍𝙬, giving her 2 minutes to deal a whopping 5 million damage. But to be honest, I wasn't worried. I knew that I'd probably...
Here's the thing. I think, okay, C5 Bennett bait is pretty much versatile for many builds, for many team builds. However, C6 Bennett, I am thinking C6 Bennett could be used as a hyper burgeon, hyper burgeon proc carry.
Probably have to crit fish a little, but 𝘍𝙬 doesn't have any special resistance to my team. At least that's what I thought. I quickly realized that it did. It has a 100% damage resistance when it teleports to the other side of the f***ing map. I start stacking my 𝙂𝙚 burst, run. I put down Bennett and Rosa burst, run. The difficulty 5 version of this guy is locked in place, and the only crap RNG you have to deal with is when he heals with his mini 𝘍𝙬s before you have a chance to destroy them. But now I have to play Circle Impact while crit fishing against a boss who randomly teleports around the field. How is Rosa dead?
Oh, wait, what?
How is Rosa dead?
Rosa was too much circle impact. I had bring fish on.
Oh! No! Come on, 𝙂𝙚. Yes! 𝙂𝙚, come on! Boom! No! No way, no way, no way. Yes, thank you. Alright. Oh my god. There we freaking go. Dude, I got so unlucky there. Dude, I'm telling you. Honestly, this one doesn't teleport around. It's gonna be free. It's gonna be light work. It's gonna be light work, bro. Alright, come on, come on. Tier 5 𝘍𝙬 is about to be absolutely freaking annihilated. It's not even gonna be... Difficulty 5 𝘍𝙬, while less annoying, is definitely more challenging. The mini 𝘍𝙬s are a lot stronger, and while they do get one-shot by cryo, this can be quite annoying to pull off with melee character auto-targeting. But the real killer is the shield. You need damage to break through this, and unfortunately, 𝙂𝙚 does not gain burst stacks while hitting it, making her burst contribute very little. Maybe she really is a washed-up unit. You know what? It's 𝙂𝙚. She deserves it. She's been through the plus a huge amount of EM equals massive vapes. As for my artifacts, this is what I got. 4-piece glad with some pretty decent rolls. Also, low-key, this piece could be cracked. While I'm leveling this up, I do want to mention the fact that I am so grateful for all the support I've received on my videos lately. It actually makes me so happy to see you guys enjoying my content so much. And to those of you who's asked about like live streaming, I am going to start streaming on Twitch next week, so do go over and drop a follow if you want to catch those. And also, make sure you're subscribed. Anyways, let's see it.
RIP.
777. After that feather, I then remembered that since I'm not going to be using my burst, why not just use 𝙂𝙚𝙣𝙚? I have absolutely cracked pieces on this set, and it gives more damage bonus. And my testing did confirm this is my best vape 𝙂𝙚 build. 69k, bro. Except for when I switched to 𝙂𝙚𝙣𝙚𝙀's Reminiscence, I made one mistake. Yeah, this hurts to look back at. It looks like 𝙂𝙚 is going to be playing with a cryo goblet for a little bit. I mean, can you blame me? She's a physical unit, but she's also cryo, and I'm playing her as a pyro unit. Like, I was bound to get confused at some point. Now back to the 𝙂𝙚𝙀𝙀. 𝙂𝙚 really is me. Looks like you to 𝙂𝙚𝙣𝙚𝙀's Reminiscence, I made one mistake. Yeah, the mini talk Virgin. So with my new 𝙂𝙚 squad, I fought the difficulty for 𝙁𝙀 once more to test out my damage. We're gonna get some virgins in today, bro. Wait, this damage is actually good, bro. Hello? Wait, dude, I'm actually destroying this thing. I got killed. Bennett is such a double-edged sword. But wait, this is actually doing damage, guys. This was supposed to be a joke. What? I am staying delusional that 𝙂𝙚's damage is actually contributing here, and it's not all 𝘠𝙠. Ignore that I have a 5-star weapon on her. Oh, come on. Those are some big numbers, bro. Those are some big numbers. 39k vapes for 𝙂𝙚, bro. Ignore that 𝘠𝙠's doing 53k a tick, bro. Look at 𝙂𝙚, bro. Look at her go. Come on, 𝙂𝙚! Wait, I'm actually beating it. Vaporized 𝙂𝙚's actually working. Get him, get him, get him. Dude! Bro, how did that work? No way, bro. Oh my god.
Nice.
No. So you can tell, I was genuinely surprised. I did not think vaporized 𝙂𝙚 would do this well. Furthermore, this team had the perfect counter to the fearless 𝙁𝙀's ability. 𝙂𝙀 slowly but reliably takes care of the mini 𝙁𝙀s, and Xiangling is able to double Pyronado, allowing us to get past the shield phase. And with this one not constantly running across the map, this actually seemed possible. Yes, we got it, we got it, we got it. Let's go. No! Why does that feel like it's so doable? That was without you. Wait. Why does this feel so actually doable? It's actually, this is stupid. This is the stupidest thing I've ever done that might work. I think the fact of the matter is my 𝙂𝙚's artifacts are just like perfect. I don't think I can get a better 𝙂𝙚 build. 𝙂𝙀 is pretty much as good as she can get. Xiangling, my 𝙂𝙚 sub DPS. To be clear, 𝙂𝙚 sub DPS. Most definitely not anything else. For sure. Yeah, I could go this piece. Tiny bit more damage. I mean, dude, there is something I could do. There is one thing I could do. Dude, if only I had R5 Rain Slasher, bro. If only. If only. Rain Slasher on this man. Yeah. Yo, no, there's no way I do it. There's no. Oh, wait, come on, Rain Slasher, please. Oh, the flute! Alright, that was a horrible life choice. What's her attack going from?
Well,
Attack's going from
time. Alright, I think it's about time to end stream. Alright. Yeah, it's about time to end stream. Alright, chat, that being said, I'm probably gonna just try to relax for the rest of the night. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That being said, I just want to say thank you everyone for joining today's stream. My name is Brandon Blitz, I'm a Friday streamer. I stream lots of video games, chat videos, as well as I draw art, and hopefully I'll be doing 3D modeling for everyone here. That being said, I gotta get going now, Blitzies. Bye bye, matinee.